Thank you for joining us at 2cutebeads.com. Today I'm going to show you how we created our Swarovski sparkling tin bracelet kit. Let's get started. These are the ingredients that your kit's going to include. Fold over clasp in sterling silver, 5mm rondelles, silver tin, 5mm Swarovski crystals, 5.3 rondelles, a 5.5 magnetic, jump rings, and a piece of chain, safety clasp chain. So let's get started with this kit. We need 3 sections of tin. So I'm going to measure my tin. I have 12, 24, I have 30. So I'm going to cut them in 10-inch sections. And I need 3 of them. So I'm just going to do this, make sure I'm even here. One looks like it's going to be a little bit longer. Yep, a little bit left here. Got my 3 sections here. Okay, so we're going to start with our fold over clasp. And the way I get my fold over clasp to work for me is I take the end of my round nose and I wrap it in here. Just so I can slide in. I'm going to wrap this one around a little bit and get it started. So what I'm actually doing is just making the end here. And I'm going to take my 3 pieces of tin, hold them together, slide them in here, make sure I've got all 3. My flat nose, I'm going to hold them down, make sure they're all in there. Push this one down, fold this one over, and flatten. Make sure I've got them in there nice and tight, which I do. Kind of separate them a little bit because I need 3 strands. There we go. Holds everything together. And these are, I'm going to come back here and do this now. I could have left myself a little bit more, but just kind of push these up and nip them off your ends. Okay, now we're ready. So the first thing we're going to add, and I'm wearing it right now, is a rondelle going right here. So the pattern is basically the same. We put our all the way down. So we put our rondelle on, push it up. Now we're going to separate these. This is going to be our middle, and this is going to be our side. So we're going to start with the middle, which is going to be a hematite, two clear, a rondelle, hematite, rondelle, two clear, and a hematite. And a rondelle. We're going to repeat that down the center. And that's our repeating pattern down the center. On each side, we're going to add 6. Six on this side. We're going to take it through. I may have to pick it up. I'm trying to do it so you can see what I'm doing, but I'm going to have to turn it this way to get through the rondelle. And this one on the other side. And this is what our pattern looks like. And we're going to repeat that 3 more times now. The most important thing when you're doing this, though, is to make sure that you're loading the center all the time. So the way that I make sure of that, so that I don't accidentally put them on this cord or the other cord, is keep my cords separated, pull on the one I need to add to, which this is my middle cord. So again, I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to start adding my beads on the center, and always doing my center first and making sure that it is the center bead that I'm loading onto. We have all of our patterns on now, so now it's just time to close it up. So again, we do the same thing we did at the beginning of making our bracelet. We're going to round this out. And we're going to make sure that we put it on at the same direction. So I'm going to flip my bracelet over now. I want my 9.25 on top, so I'm going to load my wires through here. Okay. And now we're just going to pull everything in place. So this is my middle. Okay. So we're just making our adjustments now, pushing everything down into place. Making sure that our clears are in the center. Okay. Pulling each one nice and tight. I don't want it super tight, but I want to make sure that I don't have any gaps in it. And that they're all going the right way. So this one's good, this one's good. And right here, this one needs to come in a little bit more. So that's all it's a matter of, is just working with it. There we go. Okay. And it'll all lay out flat once it goes on your wrist. There. And I think I have them all in place now. So ideally, there we go. And that's what it should look like. I need a little bit more room, but I've got all of my twists pretty even. And if you want it a little bit looser, that you can do too. Okay. So I'm going to bring this down here now. Lay it down. Looks good. Looks good. So ideally we have the same amount of X's in the back. X here that looks pretty even, pretty even, pretty even. Pull it. Try it. Once it's exactly how you like it, make sure that you're folding your clasp down the same on both sides. So now I'm going to fold my clasp down. My clasp is fold down. I went a little over on this, so what I'm going to do is adjust it a little bit. And the way I do that is I just push in a little bit because I went a little bit too far on it. There we go. That looks much better. Okay. Now make your adjustments right here. Should be even. X on both sides of your silver tin. So we have our X there, we have our X there, we have our X there, and our X there. We're going to cut this off. Everything's laying nicely. So now all we need to do is attach our clasp. And we always use safety chains. So I'm going to load one end of my safety chain on. One end of my clasp. And hook her through. Close it till I hear it click, because these are click and close jump rings that we use here at 2 Cute Beads. Do the other side now. Your kit does contain 2 extra jump rings in case you need to make it a little longer. there we go. And again, just make sure everything's, you have your X there, you have your X there, your X there. Then when we close it and we set it down, we have a finished bracelet. It does take some playing with, but it's relatively simple to make. Just make your adjustments and move your silver in place. And the other, we did a version of this. What I wanted to tell you is we did a version of this where these laid right in here, we took the rondelles out. So we didn't use the rondelles. So we put, on the sides, we put 6 beads and 7 in the center. And this laid flat right in here. And it was a very pretty bracelet for those of you that don't like quite as much sparkle. But again, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for joining us at 2cutebeads.com. See you next time.